I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could remain standing, please. I'd like us to take a moment to pay tribute to Kelly Duda. She is a Tiverton resident, wife, mother of 2 young boys who passed away very recently and unexpectedly. As taken from her obituary, Kelly was a creative spirit and a treasured member of the Tiverton, Rhode Island community. She leaves behind a legacy of love, laughter, and generosity that will be remembered by all who knew her. Kelly was an active and well-liked parent volunteer in the Tiverton School community. She was also a regular attendee at our meetings. I didn't know Kelly personally, which is certainly my loss. Please let us all take a moment of silence to reflect and honor Mrs. Duda. Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Mendes, do we have anyone?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go through open forum. Ms. McNamara.
Shannon McNamara, 65 East Mellow Road. So I brought a visual today. I made a pie chart. But, kind of to show everyone, the point of the pie chart is I really wanted to break down, our town budget. But I also wanted us to see, everyone in this room, we're the whole pie. Education does get a big piece of the pie. And I'm for that, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be here, every single meeting. It's important, that my kids have a great education. That's why I moved here. But I did want it pointed out that, we do get the lion's share of the entire town budget. And I'm okay with that. I do want that. But, if we were still to close Fort Barton, we look to lose $1 million. And when you look at the rest of the pieces of the pie, where's that going to come from? Do we ask Public Works to give a piece of their pie? What about Parks and Recs? They hardly have anything on here. We know that we can't ask our first responders. With everything that's been going on in town, the firehouse is closing, everything else, that's a hard ask. And I know it seems like we should ask for it in capital, but again, education does get a big piece of that. And should we take $1 million away from another department that might have some capital requests just so we can close a school that we're going to need down the road? So at the last school committee meeting, we were told that we could see 170 new students in those developments. That seemed like a conservative estimate. And I don't think it's fair that we ask the taxpayers later on to either build another school if we lose the building or to pay for an addition because we lost the building to Ranger. So the last day of school is tomorrow. And again, I've been here day in and day out, and I still don't know where my child's going to go next year. And that's all I had for tonight.
Thank you. Okay. So for the consent agenda, I would like to make a motion to remove item 5B from the consent agenda. Does anyone else want to pull anything?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. So hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the remaining consent agenda with the exception of item 5B?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. For 5B, I've asked that it be pulled for today in order for us to make a correction on the agenda. We will put it back on at our next meeting. Okay, next up, that's the end of the consent agenda. The chairman's remarks, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a chairperson, chairwoman, chair, certainly not a chairman. I have added this to our agenda beginning tonight, and it will be a standing item on our agenda. It may, at times, there may not be anything for us to share. But the purpose of this, being on the school committee for a number of years now, I've seen agenda items such as this being used for the purpose of publicly communicating items that are important to note as part of our members' elected service, or perhaps about important state law updates, as well as to share topics of interest involving groups associated with the Tiverton schools, such as the PTOs and the like, that might not otherwise be already included on our agenda. I truly hope that our members, as well as the public, finds it informative. So to kick things off, I have a reminder to my colleagues of the Rhode Island General Law requirement to complete 6 hours of training annually. The Rhode Island Association of School Committees annual meeting was held on May 4th, and it was a full-day meeting that contained several presentations that were meant to benefit the learning that is needed by all school committee members. I know I personally was not able to attend this year. I usually do. As such, however, those presentations do count toward the annual training requirement. On May 11th, RIASC sent out the video links to the presentations, which included topics around graduation requirements and UCOA, which is the Uniform Chart of Accounts. I would recommend that each member take the time to watch these informative presentations. And if for some reason you don't have the link in your email, please let me know and I'll forward it over to you. Secondly, we have a reminder that the Attorney General's annual Open Government Summit will be held at Roger Williams University on July 26th. This is the first time they'll be having it both in person and virtually. This will be offered however people wish to participate. It's a great opportunity to learn or refresh ourselves about access to Public Records Act as well as the Open Meetings Act. Dr. Sanchioni did forward this information to all of us on June 5th, and I encourage all to attend as their schedules allow. And that is all I have for remarks today. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, I have a superintendent's update. Dr. Sanchioni?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to update the school committee on a personnel matter. It is with both pride and sadness that we bid farewell to our esteemed Director of Finance, Amy Roderick, who has decided to pursue a new opportunity after 4+ years of remarkable service to our organization. From the moment Amy joined us, her dedication, expertise, and unwavering commitment have been evident in every facet of her work. She has not only managed our finances with precision and integrity, but also been a pivotal force in steering our organization toward unprecedented growth and stability. Amy's contributions extend beyond the confines of the finance department. She has been an invaluable member of our executive team, providing strategic insights that have shaped our long-term vision and operational strategies. Her keen business acumen and ethical standards have earned her the respect and admiration of colleagues and stakeholders alike. As Amy embarks on this new chapter, we express our deepest gratitude for her extraordinary service and dedication. Thank you, Amy, for everything you've done. You'll be greatly missed.
And Amy?
I'm not going to cry.
I want to thank you from the school committee for putting up with us for the last several years. You have been an invaluable help to all of us as we, especially as we go through all of these rather contentious budget battles, okay? So I do want to thank you for everything, and I want you
Thank you so much.
to take this.
If I may, Madam
Absolutely.
Chair,
Go ahead.
Amy,
Yes.
thank you for your unwavering dedication to providing us everything we need. I know, to echo the Chair's sentiments, we've pushed, prodded, poked you to help us understand the budget and you did not a remarkable job, but you did a very high-level service to the town of Tiverton, and I'm grateful that I've had you here, and I wish you all the best going forward. You're welcome.
I love being here.
Anyone else?
As a fellow financial professional, we've had lots of these discussions, and someone who's achieved your certifications and your level of advancement and your achievements, I want to just thank you greatly for sharing those with us for the last 4 years. As anyone in the finance world can attest to, it's very, very hard to get quality, ethical, responsible people, and I thank you for sharing all of your talents with us here at Tiverton.
Amy, I just want to thank you. You've put up with a lot from some of us, and you've worked extremely hard, and you've brought knowledge to this district. You know, working with your team downstairs, I know how much they appreciated you, and we all wish you nothing but the best from here on in. Thank you.
Amy, if there's anything you'd like to say, I will give you the floor.
So I can do it without.
I won't force you, though. It's up to you.
All challenges aside, it really has been a pleasure working here, and I've learned a lot myself. Massachusetts versus Rhode Island, and when I spoke with Peter and Sarah and let them know that I was moving forward, it really is with mixed emotions. I love everyone here, particularly my staff and these two people right here. And, you know, it's an opportunity that came around twice, actually. So I think there's something in the cards about that, but it's really going to be heartbreaking to leave. So thank you so much for letting me do my little part for the families and students of Tiverton. For the last time, Peter is going to hear this. I am not an educator, but I am a child of educators. And that is why education is one of my accounting specialties, if you want to call it that. And I hope that I was able to move the district forward even just a little bit. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service. Okay. I would like a motion to move on the agenda item 11A.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Okay. 11A, vote to accept funds of $334,983.21 from the dissolution of the region to be added to the fund balance. Dr. Sanchioni.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to update the committee on this, that when the region dissolved last June and we started educating special ed students in all of our individual districts starting July 1st, some of money was set aside to cover extenuating circumstances, bills, insurances, anything else that could have come our way. And also the region had to go through an audit, had to have some attorneys look at all the books, and the 3 superintendents who were involved also had to meet several times. And it just so happens that, you know, we're getting to the point now where we're confident that what was left as revenue could now be distributed back to the district. So this is Tiverton's portion based upon an agreed division of assets. I want to point out 2 things. It's, you know, because I've heard it already that, you know, we found this money. No, we didn't really find it. We knew it was coming, and we just didn't know when. Again, audits are not always at our disposal. And I know the committee understands this, but again, it's one-time revenue. So if you voted tonight, it goes into the fund balance. It's never coming back, but you can use it at your discretion.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept funds in the amount of $334,983.21 from the dissolution of the special ed region?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So are we done now? Has Ben looked at everything? I mean, are we?
I would say we're 90% done. There is still a small sum of money that's left there. There's still OPEB out there. There's still a potential lawsuit and things of that nature. So there's still some revenue there to potentially cover that. So, you know, a year from now, it'll be nothing close to this amount, I can assure you that. But there's still some liabilities that the region has to be prepared
All
for.
right. So they're still working through some legal dissolutions? Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous, thank you. Moving back to old business, FY '25 budget update. Dr. Sanchioni, I'll let you kick things off.
Okay, well, we're going to update everyone on the current status of the budget. I know Chairperson Fonwick, you've done a nice job putting together some documents, so I'm going to turn it back to you. I know you want to address them, and then I'll follow up when you have completed.
Yes, certainly, thank you. Are we going to be showing it on this?
Yep, Danny has it.
And we have, is this what we have in front of us?
Yes.
It is.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully this is readable for everyone. So what I have is 3 slides that I would like to kick off our discussion tonight with regard to the budget status. As we all know, we have not yet received a final appropriation from the town. They have taken a vote to preliminarily appropriate 2% from their contribution to the schools. If you look at the slide, we have a comparative here between this current fiscal year, fiscal '24, and the fiscal year that begins July 1st. So what we're seeing here is that indeed the town has, at this point, their preliminary budget appropriation would be a 2% increase. Offset from that is a 16% decline in state aid. We went from 6.9 million to 5.8 million, and that does include a small increase that we did realize over the past week as a result of the legislature overturning the governor's desire to put some limitations on state aid. So at this point, our total appropriation, unless it changes, is expected to be $33,746,316, which is a net decline over the current year of $554,495. At this point, setting our final budget won't be something we can do until that appropriation or any changes to that appropriation become final. You'll notice on this slide as well that the FY25 budget appropriation request to the town council was $34,134,474, which between that appropriation request and what we have yet received leaves us with a gap of $388,158. And what you can see in the italics on the bottom, for those who may want to follow this more closely, is that asterisk is aligned to the state aid number, which is a current estimate, of course, as of May 31st. We still have a couple weeks for changes to come through. Net of any multi-language learner categorical funds, which go directly to a special account. Did I get that right, Amy?
You did.
Took a while, right? Thank you. If we go to the next slide, please. So with the preliminary appropriation of $33,746,316, we taking a look at what the level service proposal was from Dr. Sanchioni back in January of $39,090,416. That leaves us with a gap or a deficit of $4.9 million. So that's our starting point for FY25. We have previously voted to cut a number of specific expenses from the expense line items in the FY25 budget, and that totaled $867,000. We have a couple more expenses that we have identified since that time that we will be voting on. One is for $94,000 to recognize the transfer of, I believe it's 5 students from the EBAC cooperative. Yeah, it is 5 students. And we're expecting to realize a savings of $94,000 in next year's budget for that. So we will at least put that out for vote to add to our expense cuts. In addition to that, we have one partial salary that we will be able to move to an already received Van Buren grant of $60,000, $870,000. So at this point, we are projecting expense cuts to be at just over $1 million, $1,021,884. So you take that out of the variance that we started with, 4.9 million, take out that million, we come out to 3.9 million net that we need to handle, if you will. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So I wanted us to kind of talk about some of the specific potential cuts, potential savings, potential sources of funding that we may be able to tap into. As you all are aware, we have gone through 3 rounds of layoff notices to members of the National Education Association. There may be additional layoffs from Council 94 and/or administrators. With that said, the breakdown here of the positions that right now are on the quote-unquote chopping block for elimination, we have 5 vacant positions that we can choose not to fill. We have 8 regular ed classroom positions that we may eliminate. We have 17 special ed or specialist positions that we may need to eliminate, or may have to, or may choose to eliminate, I should say. We have the staff at Fort Barton consisting of 8 positions that, should we decide to consolidate grades away from Fort Barton, would realize a savings of $721,748. And then we also have on the table a discussion to reduce the principal position at Ranger School to half-time, which would save us $105,000. You'll also notice that I have an other TBD as a last line item there. Again, we have not sent out any layoff notices for members of Council 94 or any other school-wide positions. Should we do that, that's where those cuts would ultimately land. Outside of position cuts, okay, we have on the table a couple other items for discussion that we have yet to opine and or take a vote on. One is to eliminate sports at the middle school at an estimated savings of $20,000. One is to eliminate late buses district-wide for an estimated savings of $50,000. And 2 are components of casino funding that we have sent the request over to the town council for. One for $200,000 for technology expenses, and one for books of $85,000. Just as you know, the town council has not yet taken up that request or approved it, but it is out there as a potential way for us to save. So that brings us, just in cuts and other identified savings, to a total of $3.9 million, which, you know, if you look at what the gap was, $3.9 million, it's pretty close. The thing is, right, I don't think anyone in this room wants us to take every single cut on that list. Okay, we've certainly sent out the layoff notices that we need to send out to cover our bases. However, we would like nothing more than to bring back several of these positions. Our students deserve them. And then finally, the fund balance. We do have a fund balance that's available to us. The projected fund balance for our district prior to the check that we just accepted this evening was $1,328,000. So if you add that to the check we just received, we are now projecting that for June 30th, we will have $1,663,000 available to use as one-time funds, once again, to fund the operations of this district. Should we vote to use any or all of those funds, we all need to understand that it's not solving anything. It will just continue to fund this district using one-time funds. So that takes us to the end of the budget update. I hope that it clarifies where we are right now. Obviously, several changes may come as a result of a change in the appropriation, but we will continue our discussions as we go. So I'm going to open it up to the committee. Are there any questions?
I have no questions.
Mike?
Thank you. So I don't know how many questions I have, but I do have one. Seems to be the rationale in the whole town. No one can help us with that. One question I have, Madam Chair, is the savings that we graciously appreciate with Rep. Edwards, the $147,000. Does that factor in this at all?
That was the state legislature that overturned the governor's proposal to limit the increases to all school districts.
Okay.
And that is definitely included in the state aid number.
It is in the state aid
Yes.
number. Thank you. That was my one question. My statement would be that in the previous 3 years I served on this committee, I know that we haven't had a lot of folks show up. That doesn't mean people aren't paying attention. That just means they're not physically here because they're probably busy. And I know that with the budget crisis we have this year, there has been more people not only here physically, but paying attention, chatter, social media, et cetera. And the one thing that we have talked about since I have gotten here in late 2020 was about how we've had to go through this process every year, and we have had to spend our surplus to cover operational expenses. So although that looks tempting to see that we have $1.663 million, if we use that money, we're putting ourselves in a hole.
Yes.
We all understand that, correct? Yeah, Elaine, yes, Deb, Diane, okay. So for everyone in the room, we're saying it, it's being recorded, it's being recorded, okay? We're saying it loud and proud, or I am at least, that if we use this money, we are gonna be on July 1st. Amy, I have that right? We'll sort of be in the hole, right? So from June 30th to July 1st, we'll be back in the hole.
Correct.
All right.
Same situation exists.
Same situation. It's not going to go away. We're going to be here next year. So I just want to make sure the public understands that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, Elaine?
No, I have no.
Deb?
So Mike asked one of my questions. So the 5855869 includes the 147,000 in there. So we are still looking at a total appropriation decline of 2%. Right?
That is correct, and we are still statewide the district that took the largest hit
State aid.
to state aid.
Okay. And then on the second page, Diane, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I should be more respectful. Move Part 1 specialist to Van Buren, is that a one-time grant or continuing
It's
grant?
continuous.
That's a one-time grant.
One time.
One time?
One time.
Yeah.
Every year.
Okay, so that's more, it's not as large, obviously, the 1.6 million, but that would be one-time funding. Okay.
Also, the money we're getting in capital of the 286 is also one time.
We'll have to have discussion about that, because there is no guarantee we're going to get it. And it would be, debated here as to whether or not that would be a one-time request. But for this year, we have made that request.
And then I just want to be clear because I think that's important that the layoffs only, you only noted NEA here because that's who we had to notice by June 1st. That does not mean there are not going to be administrative or Council 94 layoffs. We still need to discuss those. That will start an executive session, but we still need to have those discussions about any other positions. We just had to notice NEA by June 1st.
That is correct.
And so I was looking at, so if we use all of the fund balance, that's 2,272,000, 2,000,003 essentially in cuts. If we leave 500K, it's 2,000,008. and cuts. Yeah,
Yep,
okay. Right. That's all I had. Thank you, Diane.
okay, thank you.
Very easy to understand. Thank you for all that work.
And thank you. Dr. Sanchioni, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I just want to call the committee's attention to, on the summary of the cuts, and you've recognized the Fort Barton closure positions, but if you go back to the expense cuts, I want you to recognize that we've eliminated all the expense cuts related to closing the building. It's just the people. So the building would stay open as an educational institution or an educational entity. What that would be something we recognize that would be highly unfair to the town to lose that housing aid at this time at such a late date. So as you go through this, anything we were going to save on energy, technology, electricity, all that has been eliminated from savings. The building will remain open in some capacity as you deem, and the cuts would only come from personnel. So no housing aid lost to the town or any
Thank you. I
revenue
think
lost
that's
to the town.
important to note, because it is impactful to the town as a whole. And, you know, at least for 1 year, I think we can probably do our best to see that that happens. And then we can continue with the discussions of ultimately, you know, where are we going as a community with our educational infrastructure? You know, our enrollment has been steadily declining over the last 10 years, which I've said before is not unusual. It's happening all over, but it is happening here. And while we may very well see a bit of an uptick as a result of future building growth in town, none of that is guaranteed. So, you know, at this point, I think it's just important to note that we will have this building available to us for at least, I think, another year. I don't foresee us taking a vote to actually close the building. Is there anything from anyone else that you wanted to bring up? Okay. Well, I thank you for hearing me out, and I hope it was informative. So we will now move to new business. Item B, vote to approve Ranger School outdoor classroom dedication to retiring principal, Mr. Manuel T. Cabral. Dr. Sanchioni.
So in your packet, you have the dedication plaque and the a picture from the event. I know that you had been made aware of this, but the PTO there wanted to keep it a surprise for Principal Cabral, but I know it's a great gesture on his part, so we seek your approval this evening.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Ranger School outdoor classroom?
Oh, happily.
I'll second that.
I'll third that.
Absolutely. Is there any discussion?
Go ahead, Mike.
I want to say we had the pleasure of spending, most of us had the pleasure of spending last Monday at the graduation with Mr. Cabral. He was able to give the keynote speech. He's just a delightful, uplifting, positive, caring, awesome person. And he will truly be missed. I hope anything we can do to keep his aura around our district. He would be the definition of a clone. If you could clone somebody, we could have more Manny Cabrals. We'd be very lucky. So I know he's not here, whether he's watching or he watches this later. Thank you, Manny.
Anyone else?
I agree with everything you said, but Mr. Cabral's strongest point, if you'll have that word, is that he cares about the town, he cares about this school district, and above all, Mr. Cabral cares about students in the school district, all students, not special students, or everyone is special to Mr. Cabral, and he has done a phenomenal job in this district. He's led that school for several years now, and he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed for a long, long time. That's all I have to say.
Great. Deb, did you have anything?
I just want to echo Mike's comments about the opportunity at graduation to spend some time with him. That really was a gift. We had some time before we walked out on the field to chat, and shared some stories, shared some thoughts, shared some fights that we've all sort of been involved in over the years. And it really, to Mike's point, it was a gift to be able to spend that time. And I'm so thankful that the class, what a great choice of Mr. Cabral, and it really was a great opportunity to spend some time with them.
Well, thank you. I just, I'm not a Ranger parent, and I'm sorry for those of you who are. I just couldn't do it. I'm a Pecasset girl. However, Mr. Cabral, I met him for the first time when we were working on a strategic plan for the district together, along with a rather large group of people, and we were assigned to work together on the communications subcommittee, if you will. And I didn't know Mr. Cabral whatsoever, and I was frankly pretty intimidated because it was really early on with my involvement with the district. But I can tell you that I was so impressed with his intellect, his common sense, and his overall dedication to making things better here for Tiverton schools. That was very evident to me at that time, has been evident to me ever since. So I too want to thank him very much for his service. And Mrs. Black?
Just for a moment, Tiger and I are here to pay tribute to Mr. Cabral. When I first started at the high school, he was the vice principal along with Mr. Shravis, and they used to call him Batman and Robin. And at that time, Mr. Cabral, of course, was Robin. And then he went on to the middle school, and my kids had him there, and my son substitute taught with him. Then my grandchildren had him at Ranger. My 4 grandchildren had at Ranger. So now, Mr. Cabral, I'm here to bestow you the name of, you are now Batman. Congratulations.
Very good, thank you. Well, it was very nice. Do I have, we have a motion and a second. So, all those in favor? Unanimous, no surprise there. Thank you very much. Okay, that takes us to the end of our agenda this evening. So for future meetings, we have the Tiverton Unified Budget Hearing tomorrow night here at the high school at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. I encourage everyone to attend. We have a school committee meeting that I would like to suggest for Tuesday. Well, we have it here suggested for Tuesday, June 25th. I'm going to put it out to my colleagues and recommend that perhaps we put a placeholder for this coming Tuesday, the 18th, as well as the 25th. I don't know what everyone's schedules look like, what your preference is.
I can't do Tuesday either way.
Which one?
This Tuesday, upcoming.
You can do the 25th?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't, whoops. So neither one of you can do the 18th, is
I
that?
can't do the 18th, I can do the 25th.
Is there a better?
Is there a better day of the week
Yeah,
next week?
my concern is, guys, that if the council votes on the 15th and we have a number, that we just start discussing our options and fund balance, and I mean, I'm thinking that's going to take some time. So is there a day?
Is there a time next
I can
week?
do the 19th, from the 19th on.
19th?
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay. You can't do Wednesday, so you can do the 20th, or you can do Thursday, the 20th, Elaine,
Okay.
or a Saturday
And
morning.
so you know what I'm going to do is I will leave
Why don't you
it-
send an
I-
email?
Yeah, I will send an email to all members of the committee. Get back to me with your availability, and we'll put something together. I would like to have at least one more meeting this month, and I'm hoping for 2.
Agree.
And then after that, we won't meet again until we currently posted, I think our annual schedule indicated our next meeting in July would be on July 9th or 10th. But I've been asked to move it to July 17th. So I hope that's okay with everyone as well. I will include that in the email to the members to ensure that that's going to work for everyone.
I'm concerned we aren't having enough meetings. I'm just going to be honest with that, if we have a budget number on Saturday, I mean, we have a lot of discussions among ourselves. We haven't debated any of these options. We haven't debated any of who we're going to call back. We haven't debated additional cuts of other personnel. I think we need to be prepared to have more meetings rather than fewer. And if I'm wrong and we get it all done in one night, then yay us. But I just think that if we're going to get the input, if we're going to have the open debate, if we're going to have the discussion, I just think we're going to need more meetings rather than less.
Okay, it's a
And I
point well
understand-
taken, and I will, again, we don't have one of our members here tonight.
No,
So it's a
I
little
agree. No,
unfair
I
for
know.
us to be
No, I know.
scheduling a whole bunch of meetings. So let me put it out. put
Yeah,
out a
communicate
perspective.
via email, that'd be great.
I will put
That'd
out
be
a
great.
calendar suggestion, and we'll be able to put something together. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mike?
question for you, please. I know that the town council has their meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
Is there also a meeting on Saturday?
The town council has a meeting on Saturday in which they are expected to take their final votes.
Do we know what time yet?
I do not. Usually when they do a Saturday, it's 9. Yeah,
But they haven't
they haven't
They
posted
haven't
it yet,
posted
as far
that
as I know.
agenda yet.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. All right. So at this time, I would like to make a motion to move into executive session. First, for legal advice on the FY25 budget, and then secondly, under Rhode Island General Law 4246 5A1, job performance, character, physical or mental health, administrative contracts.
We can do both.
Can I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Dakotas?
Yes.
Mrs. Pavo?
Yes.
Mrs. Palash?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We are in executive session. Thank you.